Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. All together, please. Om Jnana Timarandasya Ganandana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stabhitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadarti Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yukta Padakamalang Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatam Vitam Tham Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadvadutam Prijana Sehitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padang Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karana Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapcha Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhana Sutadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So, reading from Srimad Bhagavad-Gita as it is, translation and commentary, Srila Prabhupada. Today's verse is chapter 12, verse 50. Please repeat. Sanjaya Vacha. Huh? Oh, 12:50. Okay. Sorry about that. 12:20. 20, okay. Yathā dharmāmṛtam idam yathoktaṁ paryupāsate śraddadhānā mat-paramā bhaktās tīva me priyāḥ. Okay, please repeat. Ye, those who, two, but, dharma, of religion, amṛtam, nectar, idam, this, yathā, as, uktam, said, paryupāsate, completely engage, śraddadhānā, with faith, mat-paramā, taking me, the Supreme Lord, as everything, bhaktāḥ, devotees, they, atīva, very, very, me, to me, priyāḥ, dear. So, translation, Srila Prabhupada. Those who follow this imperishable path of devotional service and who completely engage themselves with faith, making me the supreme goal, are very, very dear to me. Please repeat. Those who follow this imperishable path of devotional service and who completely engage themselves with faith, making me the supreme goal, are very, very dear to me. So, purport Srila Prabhupada. In this chapter, from verse 2 through the end, from Mav Avesha Mano Ye Mam, fixing the mind on me, through Yathā dharmāmṛtam idam, this religion of eternal engagement, the Supreme Lord has explained the processes of devotional service for approaching Him. Such processes are very dear to the Lord, and He accepts a person engaged in them. The question of who is better, one who is engaged in the path of impersonal Brahman or one who is engaged in the personal service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was raised by Arjuna. And the Lord replied to him so explicitly that there is no doubt that devotional service to the personality of Godhead is the best of all processes of spiritual realization. In other words, in this chapter it is decided that through good association one develops attachment for pure devotional service and thereby accepts a bona fide spiritual master, and from him begins to hear and chant and observe the regulative principles of devotional service with faith, attachment and devotion, and thus becomes engaged in the transcendental service of the Lord. This path is recommended in this chapter. Therefore, there is no doubt that devotional service is the only absolute path for self-realization, for the attainment of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The impersonal conception of the Supreme Absolute Truth, as described in this chapter, is recommended only up to the time one surrenders himself for self-realization. In other words, as long as one does not have the chance to associate with a pure devotee, the impersonal conception may be beneficial. In the impersonal conception of the Absolute Truth, one works without fruitive result, meditates and cultivates knowledge to understand spirit and matter. This is necessary as long as one is not in the association of a pure devotee. Fortunately, if one develops directly a desire to engage in Krishna consciousness in pure devotional service, he does not need to undergo step-by-step improvements in spiritual realization. Devotional service, as described in the middle 6 chapters of Bhagavad-Gita, is more congenial. One need not bother about materials to keep the body and soul together, because by the grace of the Lord, everything is carried out automatically. Mukam karochi vachalam phangam laite girim yad kripata maham bande Shri Guru Dinatarinam yetu dharmāmṛtam idam yathoktaṁ paryupāsate śraddadhānā mat-paramā bhaktās tīva me priyāḥ. Those who follow this imperishable path of devotional service and who completely engage themselves with faith, making me the supreme goal, are very, very dear to me. So this is a wonderful summation of this middle 6 chapters, and particularly this chapter. The Bhagavad-Gita is in 3 sections, as are the Vedas: Jnana Kanda, Bhakti Kanda, and then Jnana Kanda. The first 6 chapters are, the stress is on karma, but of course it's always pushed in the direction by Krishna towards devotion to the Supreme Lord. The middle 6 chapters is the elucidation of Krishna, and that comes to an apex in the 11th chapter, where the universal form is manifest to Arjuna. And then he really realizes param dharma paramam purusham divyam, that Asita Devala Vyas, they're all worshipping you, and now I see how you are pervading this material energy. I see you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the first 6 chapters, the stress on karma, the stress is on the individual. Arjuna didn't want to fight, so Krishna said, it's your dharma. You're a Kshatriya. You have a duty. Your work, your karma, is to fight. So the stress is on the individual, not the Supreme Lord. Arjuna, you have a duty to your brothers. Duryodhana and his party, they've been trying to kill you with the poison cake, the lac house, everything. They've been trying to do everything bad, and now you won't help him? You want to run from the battlefield? You want to be politically correct? No, Arjuna, you have a duty. So the stress is on the individual, Arjuna. But in the middle 6 chapters, well, the end of that 6 chapters, Krishna then says, Yoginam api sarvesham madgatenan taratmana śraddadhānā bhajate mam sa me yuktatamo matah. That of all the yogis, Arjuna, the one who worships me, making me the supreme goal, he is the greatest yogi. So, the question, then the mood is changing, is it not? To, who is this Supreme Lord? We saw in the 5th chapter, the idea was, okay, Arjuna, you should perform your work, your dharma, your duty as a Kshatriya. But then, Arjuna, you should perform it without nice karma, without desiring the fruit. You should perform it as an offering to the Supreme. Yajñā tat kamano nyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. You should do it as a duty, not with the mentality of karma. Because usually karma, in the pure sense, aims at a material elevation. I'll become elevated to the heavenly planets, I'll enjoy beautiful heavenly delights, extended lifetime. There's no factories there, there's no pollution, there's no lockdown. Everyone is in the Nanda gardens dancing and having a good time. But there is a problem, and that is the Rakshasas attack. They try to take over, and Krishna also, he quells them. That's interesting. On the lower planets, Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Tala, Tala, Mahatala, Rasatala, Patala, and then down Narak, the devas don't attack there, right? They don't bother going down there. It's the Rakshasas that come up from the lower and try to make problem for the devas. Just like India. It's the land of the devas. India doesn't attack any other country. They're not really interested in... Once you're in the land of Veda Vyas, the Vedas and the Jamuna and the Ganga and Parashuram and the great acharyas, why would you want to go anywhere else and bother with being in control of that place? So there were statements in the Vedas, don't bother going out there, no, you stay here in the Dham. So, once you are situated in this bhakti ras, then you don't want to go anywhere else. And the highest form of dedication is to do your karma as an offering to the Supreme. That is the highest form of dharma. But then Krishna at the end says, but give up that, your material duties even, and just surrender to me. Just perform it in devotion. So this middle 6 chapters is how to perform things in devotion. And that means the stress is on who is this Supreme Personality of Godhead that Prabhupada mentions here. Who is this Supreme Lord to whom I'm supposed to offer my varnashram dharma, my varnashram duties, my work? Who is this person? So now the stress, like I say, is going from Arjuna to who is Krishna. And so if we look at the titles of this middle 6 chapters, you will see that progression. Right? Middle 6. Yes, knowledge of the Absolute. That means the Absolute Supreme. Introductory knowledge. Then how to attain the Supreme. This means this is different from offering your karma, your work, without desire for material fruit, and then getting some kind of elevation. No, but how to actually attain the Supreme. And Prabhupada gives that in the purport, right? You have varnashram, but that is external. That is to do with your material swabhav, the fruit of your previous desire and material activities. We all have a particular material body with particular propensities. But that is external to the soul. The real way to attain the Supreme is Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Achanam, Bandhanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. So that is not Varnashram, that is Sanatan Dham, because that is eternal, Sanatan. That means you will be doing Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Padasevanam eternally. In Golok, in Gokul, when you attain the manifest pastimes of Krishna in the Bhoma Leela, you will be hearing and chanting about Krishna. Krishna will be the center of Golok, of Gokul. So this is the Sanatan Dham. So Varnashram is in the category of regulating material activities and material consciousness, making it in a condition whereby the person can go into Jaiva Dharma, Sanatan Dharma, the eternal occupation of the soul, hearing and chanting about Krishna in the personal conception. So that is attaining the Supreme. It is not attaining the higher planets in the material world, because Abrahmu Bhuvana Loka Purnar Avachanarjuna, they're all Dukalayam Asasvitam. Even in the Bhagavatam we hear stories about fighting between the devas, about the women in the heavenly planets. They're a little jealous of each other. There's some politics going on. So it's all temporary. It's like if you go on holiday to a nice luxury hotel, you can have a great time. But as soon as your money runs out, they kick you out the door. So you may go to heavenly planets and have a good time, but it's temporary. So why bother going there? Why not go to the Supreme? So here's 8th chapter, how to attain the Supreme. So again, more stress. It's adopting a different goal. Okay, Arjuna, instead of doing your dharma, now think about attaining the Supreme. Just like Krishna in this chapter, he says, making me the supreme goal. You see? Making me the supreme goal. So you see, we're all architects of our destiny, but how do we build? How do we make that architecture? We make that architecture on the basis of our goal. You build a house, but you have a vision of a house first. So we all have a goal in our life that motivates us. So what is that supreme goal? Making me the supreme goal. So the supreme goal is to awaken our swarup, our relationship with Krishna, our spiritual form. That is lying dormant within the soul, just like the tree is lying within the seed. So how does that swarup awaken? And when that swarup is awoken, then we're qualified to go to the Leela of Krishna. When we have the bhava, pure bhava, rati and bhava and a shakti, when we have the attachment to Krishna through spiritual development, then we can go there. We want to attain that. So the real goal in life is that. Let me attain my swarup, swarup, not swabhav. We have a swabhav. Some people have the swabhav of a dog, some of a polar bear, some of a man, of a woman, of a politician. These are all different assumed bhavs. These are not our natural. These are assumed moods of material energy that's polluting our consciousness. But if we have the desire to awaken our swarup and enter the pastimes of Krishna, that is purity. That is pure devotion. So even if you are not purely developed in your swarup, if you have assumed that conception of attaining the Supreme, if you've understood bhakti and you've understood, I want to leave my material lockdown behind and I want to enter into the transcendental realm in my spiritual form, in Dasya Bhav, Sakya Bhav, Vatsalya Bhav, Madhurya Bhav, I want to enter into that, then that is pure devotion, to have that goal. Just like Nadanam Nasandarim Kavitamba, I don't want anything material. What do I want? I want your bhakti, Janmani Janmani Ishwari. So this is it. We don't even want liberation. I don't want liberation. I don't want karma phal. I don't want merging into the impersonal, which Prabhupada says is the secondary path or preparatory to the Supreme Person. I just want to be in my natural condition. So we are architects of our destiny. So we should have the conception that we are aiming at, and that we get from Guru, from Shastra, from Mahajan, from Sadhu, right? Three authorities, Shastra, Sadhu, and our own personal Guru, whatever. So this is how we attain the conception. That is Siddhanta. We should know Siddhanta. We should understand. So now in this middle 6 chapters, Krishna is giving Arjuna Siddhanta. In the most plain way. He's showing by vision that I am that Supreme Lord. Arjuna asked Krishna in 11th chapter, he says, you say that you're the all-pervasive Supreme Personality. I want to see that form by which you have pervaded everything in this material world. Please, you say you pervade everything. I'm a little confused. Of course, it's Leela. You're sitting on my chariot now as my charioteer, and you're saying you're pervading everything? You're not even bigger than my chariot. So you show me that. But then, so Krishna, okay, you want to see Arjuna, but I tell you, be warned, because this material world is dukkhalaya masashvatam, and I'll give you divine vision. So then Arjuna sees the manifestation. And what does Krishna say? Kalosmi aham, time I am, destroyer of the worlds. So this is very important, right? Who is the absolute? Sometimes people, there's no absolute. Everything is relative, everything is your opinion. What is the absolute? The absolute is time in the material world, right? Time. Nobody can do without time. I can't give this class without time. You cannot cross the road without time. You cannot cook your breakfast without time. You're entirely dependent upon time. You cannot transcend time. Can you go back in time? Yes, in a novel, a fanciful knowledge, the time machine. We want to conquer time. Yes, you can in a story, but you try to go back 1 minute. You're writing a book that you're going back 100 years to change history, but we don't see any evidence that you were successful. You can't even change your wife's mind. In the present, what to speak? Go back and marry a different girl. No. I'm sure you're all happily married. But the point is, we're all completely controlled by time. Right? So people say, there's no God. There's no absolute. It's all relative. Tell that to time. If you don't come to the railway station on time, the train is gone. It doesn't depend on your opinion. I think it's 11:30. No. the train left 20 minutes ago. No, in my opinion, the train is still here. It's 11:30, not 11:50. Huh? Then you're a crazy man, right? So anyone that says there's no absolute, he is an ignorant person or a rascal. He doesn't want to admit the obvious. So Krishna is manifest directly as time. And also in the 10th chapter, Mrityu sarva harascha-ham. That is also another absolute, right? We all know, for whom the bell tolls, we all have to give up this. We cannot say, oh, everyone else will die, but me, not me. Of course, this echoes our spiritual nature, because we will never die. We are spiritual. So we rebel against the idea of time. Death. But also in the end of the Brahma Samhita, Shriya Kanta Parama Parama Kursha Taravo Druma Bhumis Chintamani Gangamayi Toam Amritam Kata Nacham Gangam Priyāḥ. That time is conspicuous in the material world by its absence. That is verse 56 in the Brahma Samhita. So time and death are absent in the spiritual world, but they are manifest as absolutes in the material world. So next time somebody says, I don't believe in God, you say, look at your watch. It's time. Time is manifest here. So this conception, people will rebel because it means that I'm subordinate. I'm not the supreme controller. And that is the material impetus, that I should be the controller. I should not be under control. I should be independent. But those that are sober, those that are intelligent, they will understand, yes, there's a good point there, Krishna. So what is time in the material world? When Krishna sees the universal form, he sees everything being destroyed, being drawn into the mouths, the many flames, and everything being destroyed. Now in the spiritual world, Krishna also manifests, but he manifests there as what? The Ras Leela. Radha and Krishna are in the middle. Krishna's expanded with every gopi. He's in the heart of everyone. So in the spiritual world, Krishna's expanded as Yashodanandan, as Gopi Jana Balabhaya. He's expanded in the most beautiful way. The Ras Leela is there, the devas are showering flowers, it's a beautiful evening, the flowers are there, the peacocks are there, Krishna's dancing with every single soul. So that is the universal form, if you like, of the transcendental platform. But here, we're dancing with time. And time has got a full stop at the end of your life sentence. So this is kind of a shocking thing. And Arjuna said, oh my God. Krishna, param dharma, pavitram, paramam pamam. What a shock to see this. Or, can you imagine? Krishna says, whatever you want to see, Arjuna, you can see in this form. You can see all the past, all the future, whatever is there. So Arjuna is just shocked, awe and reverence to see how Krishna is controlling everything, and to see the real nature of the material world. In the material world, we are so busy trying to enjoy and lord it over the material energy that we become we don't see. We don't see the bad things. We want everybody else is suffering, but it won't happen to me because I've got a good doctor and he can prescribe good pills, and even if I have a headache, I feel good. No, The material nature, it's like a grinding stone. It grinds slowly and it grinds very fine. So it should be very careful, should we not? Because whatever we do, there's a karma phal, right? People nowadays, they go to school and they study physics. Oh, this asteroid is going at this speed, at this angle, and if this asteroid hits it, then it will bounce to this degree. Because for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. That applies only to asteroids in space. It doesn't apply to me. I can do any damn thing on Earth and there'll be no reaction. This is Kali Yuga, self-delusion. The asteroid is reacting to pressure, but this table is not, because I'm touching it. I'm beating people in the street, I'm stealing, I'm cheating. But I'll get no reaction. That's just for the asteroid in space. Is this reasonable? Is this intelligent? So, that is what Arjuna is saying. Attaining the Supreme. Then the most confidential knowledge is becoming more intimate. After you've attained the Supreme, then you will realize Krishna. You will realize Krishna. What is the beginning of that? Krishna explains, Vasudeva Savamiti. This is the end of knowledge. To understand, Aham sarvasya pravavo matak sarvam pravartate iti mat-va bhajanti. That everything is emanating from me. Everything is the energy of me. And iti mat-va, those that know this, bhajanti, they perform my bhajan. So once you attain knowledge, the starting point of knowledge is to understand all this energy, all these living entities, all this spiritual material energy. This is Vasudeva. And the result of that realization will be bhajan. You'll start to worship Krishna. Because if you understand everything is the energy of Krishna, you'll see Krishna everywhere. And in that purity of heart and consciousness, your natural devotion, your swarup will be there. And then you'll chant, not like a parrot. The parrot you can train to chant Hare Krishna. I haven't done it myself, I don't have a parrot. But bhajan means that you're chanting with love. Oh Vasudeva, you are everything. I am yours. Mavai vangsa jiva loke. I am your angsa. And now I'm chanting. I'm chanting to you, my origin. You have given me existence. You have given me everything. So I feel devoted to you. My natural devotion is there. It's there. So therefore, at this platform of bhajan, one chants, conjuring up his love. Oh Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And then the reciprocation with Krishna comes. Then you get Nam Ruchi, then you get Bhava, then you get Swarup, your understanding of your relationship. But you must remember this. Okay, at the beginning, Shravanam Kirtanam, get knowledge. But then, when you have knowledge that everything is Krishna and you're really coming to that understanding, chant and conjure up your prem and worship with love. Do your Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu with love. And then that's what attracts Krishna. The prem bhav, the rasa. And then every day you'll be getting more rasa from Krishna. Then you'll get bhakti ras. Nama chantamani Krishnas chaitanya rasa vigraha. But you have to enter into that by chanting with cultivation of affection, love and affection. And this is what Lord Chaitanya taught. To chant with that affectionate Raga is one thing, attraction, but then attraction turns to attachment. So that's when you're getting bhakti ras. Then you'll be fixed. You won't want to do anything else. You will have come out of illusion. You'll be liberated. Vasitsa mahatma sadulabha. You know that everything is Krishna, and then this is wonderful. And I'm chanting the name of Krishna. And then you'll realize that Krishna enjoys your chanting. The lowest stage of Nam Ruchi is that you are enjoying chanting. But then as your internal realization develops, you will realize that Krishna is enjoying your chanting. Not your side, I'm enjoying, but Krishna is enjoying. And this will come as a shock. I thought I was all alone in this world. But Krishna reveals himself through bhava. That is the initial. So, then you get the most confidential knowledge. Because that means you start to realize the nature of Krishna. That is the most confidential knowledge. You start to realize the heart of Krishna. So, then the opulence. This is the most confidential knowledge, is the expansion. How opulent is Krishna? Sutre mani gana, everything is resting upon me. All the opulences that you see in this world, beauty, strength, renunciation, wealth, fame, knowledge, that is all emanating from me. I'm the embodiment of all beauty. I'm in the embodiment of all Shakti. And that is the emanation of my form. So once this realization of Krishna's sublime nature, then the mind fixes upon Krishna. Because the mind goes to wherever it is tasting the best. You go in the restaurant and there's 10 preparations on the thali, or maybe 6, I don't know. There's one that you like best. You ask that's the best one. So then you ask, can I have more of this one? So the mind, you naturally go to the most tasty. So when you're getting bhakti ras, then all other ras, jada ras, material ras, if it impinges, it doesn't mix. It doesn't become attractive. That's when you know you're becoming fixed in Krishna consciousness. You're realizing. So then opulence, then the universal form. Krishna shows, I'll show you the opulence in my Mahavishnu form, in my Shiradakshayi Vishnu form. I'll show you how I pervert this world. And then devotional service, which we're just completing. So Arjuna at the beginning, he says, which is better, to meditate on in personal way or in your personal form? And Krishna says, well, you can meditate on the impersonal conception, but it's very slow, and ultimately it will lead to the personal conception. That is because people in the material world, they're caught up with the variety. So when they speculate without a pure devotee, as Prabhupada explains in the purport, they speculate, well, spirit is some kind of consciousness. It's some kind of energy that is beyond matter, the variety of matter. It is some kind of big pool of light or something. Well, that is right, Brahmatmeti, it is Brahman. Yes, Krishna has that Brahmochi. So that will lead you to the personal conception. Because if you say this absolute is some kind of consciousness, is that satisfactory? Consciousness is attached to a person. If you say it is energy, energy is possessed by a person, right? I have consciousness. I have energy. There's a person who's the origin of that consciousness, who's the origin of that energy. So eventually, if you meditate on the Brahman, you'll become purified. But it's difficult in Kali Yuga to find the right circumstances, very detachment and so on. And it's slow. So then Krishna says, I think it's verse number 8. Yes. My Arjuna, if you cannot... it's number 7, sorry. But those who worship me, giving up the impersonal, giving up all their activities unto me, and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service, and always meditating upon me in my form, having fixed their minds on me, O Pritha, for them I am the swift deliverer from birth and death. So before, he's saying now, I'm the swift deliverer. But he said when it's the impersonal conception, that is a slow process. This is the point. So who wants to go on the slow train? We all want to go on the swift train, right? But now, this is pure bhakti. Oh, my mind is always with Krishna. I always think of Krishna. My mind is always returning to Krishna. Nothing knocks me off that. Like a compass. It's always pointing north. It might be shaken, but it always goes back to north. So the pure devotee in the material world, he may be shaken by the modes of nature, but his consciousness always goes back to Krishna. That is developed spiritual swarup. But then, so somebody may say, but I can't do that. I'm always thinking about me mummy, me friends, me enemies, people that don't like me. There's somebody in the ashram, he's always making trouble for me. I'm going to make trouble back. No, I can't always take it as Krishna's mercy. So then, this is for the sadhakas, the next verse. If you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, like the Shuddha developed devotee, then follow the regulative principles of bhakti-yoga, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, and in this way develop a desire to attain me. So the fruit of Vaidhi Bhakti, Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, is the desire, rag, and then rati, attraction, and then desire. And then once that is attained, it should be cultivated by performing our bhakti sadhana with affection, with love. And the more love you give to Krishna, he will reciprocate. That's what Krishna has created us for, to reciprocate in love, in prem bhav. So then that's the essence of this middle 6 chapters. The last 6 chapters of the Gita, that gives knowledge, which is supportive of our bhakti. We'll discuss that another time. So today's verse. Those who follow this imperishable path of devotional service and who completely engage themselves with faith, not blind faith, but realized faith, making me the supreme goal, are very, very dear to me. So Krishna is emphasizing, as does the Bhagavad-Gita, bhakti. So, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Are there any questions? The fan's very loud.
I said, as you told me this chanting, the best chanting or the most practice chanting in Krishna enjoys our chanting.
Yes, that's the highest stage of ruchi.
How the symptoms of that?
Huh?
What are the symptoms that you will?
Well, you directly experience them. Just like if you have COVID, you directly experience it. In the Uddhava Gita, Krishna says that if you are practicing spiritual life, 3 things you will notice. You will feel satisfied. You will, just like if you eat food, your hunger goes away. you feel satisfaction, and you gain energy. So when you are getting the taste, when you're realizing Krishna, you will feel satisfied, right? Your hunger, your material hunger will dissipate. In fact, instead you will have loilam, lobta. You will want more of this bhakti ras, and you'll feel energy. You'll feel enlivened. You'll feel enlightened. You'll feel, I'm on the right path. Directly, you understand? So therefore that's empiricism, right? We say, hear about the Gita. But ultimately, empiricism is to actually experience the spiritual platform by your own self. You understand? So both things are in descending and ascending process of knowledge, are both integrated properly in the Vedas. And that's why after 5,000 years, people are still studying Bhagavad-Gita. Any other book from 5,000 years has built a society? Is there any? Maybe there's a few people worshipping Rakshasas deep in the forest. But here we have Bhagavad-Gita. Why? Because this is not one of the man-made tribal religions, because yoga means union. It means experience. We don't say, have faith, believe in this funny book from the Levant, from the Middle East, made by who knows who. We don't say have faith. We say have experience. We say chant Hare Krishna and get the experience. Right? Yoga is experience-based. Right? Just like your devotee, you're a very senior, great devotee. You're chanting many, many years. Why? Because when you sit down and you feel, it's nice to chant. I'm getting a little taste. Right, why are you coming to Bhagavad-Gita class? To say, I see that joker. He makes me feel better. He's such a fool. No, because you like the knowledge. It's satisfying. Right? So yoga means experience. Faith based on experience. Yes, another question? How will you know? Well, that's it. You see, Krishna, the verses before this, he says you should be equal in honor and dishonor and so forth. You've been studying them. That's very important to cultivate that. Because if you're not sideways, he doesn't like me, he said a bad thing, look at him, he's got an expensive watch. If you are, if your mind is dragged here and there, left and right, and then you will lose your internal concentration. Krishna explains, Dhīras tatra namūyate, that you should even be dhīra, not distracted by death. Your consciousness should be fixed on the Supreme. So this is the important thing. And when the consciousness is fixed, because you're becoming tolerant, like Lord Chaitanya, be more tolerant than the tree. Don't worry if people are glorifying you or insulting you. Just keep your internal concentration. Get your mind on Krishna and chant. Take shelter. Take shelter of Krishna through hearing and chanting. So this internal concentration should be cultivated in the stage of bhakti. You understand? And then you will perceive these things that I was just talking about. You'll perceive you'll realize Krishna more. You'll be thinking, you'll be chanting, and you'll get a download. Just like we download from the internet, right? So you'll get download from Krishna into your consciousness.
Yeah.
You'll get, right?
Yeah.
Does everyone have that experience? Huh? You're all devotees many years, you're chanting, and then suddenly you get a realization. That is Chaita Guru. Huh? That is Krishna. Huh? And then you suddenly think, yes, that's right. You get it. So you should be careful, you should be attentive, you should be listening to Krishna in the heart. Right? There's that Upanishad verse that the body is like a tree and there's two birds in the tree, but the materially engrossed bird is trying to eat the fruits of the body, sensuality. But within that tree there is also another bird, the super soul, and he's waiting for that bird to pay attention. So that is the bhakti, that is mahajena, that is the path. Dhira dhira janardano too. That's one of the first things Krishna tells Arjuna. Dhira statra namuyate. Be steady, Arjuna, in happiness and distress. Whatever the problem is, just keep your mind fixed on me. Huh? You understand? So in the period of sadhana we cultivate that by regulated hearing. Just like you're coming to class, your regulated chanting, your regulated practical service in the temple. But you should, at the same time, the example is given in the Nectar of Devotion. Rupa Goswami explains that a woman has a paramour. A paramour, a lover, a secret lover. So she's at home, she's doing all her duties very nicely for her husband. Cooking the dinner, washing the clothes, keeping the house spick and span, right? But her mind is on her lover. Now, I'm not recommending that this should happen to our married ladies. But Rupa Goswami is giving the example that so the bhakta, he's doing all his duties externally, right? Keeping his cloth, everything nicely clean. But in his mind, he's looking at the leela of Krishna. He's listening for Krishna. So, be careful that you don't just do bhakti externally, but you try to develop that inner remembrance. You see my point? Then you'll experience, like you already are doing. But you should be attentive to that. You understand? You should be attentive. You should be careful. Yes, I'm chanting now. Let me see if I can get some bhakti ras. Maybe Krishna will speak to me. Just like when you take darshan of the deity in the temple, from your side you're looking at the deity, right? You say, oh look, there's Gaurnitai, there's Krishna Balaram, there's Radha Krishna, Lalit Vishaka. Is that complete darshan? You should be looking at the deity and thinking, yes, Krishna Balaram. And then you can realize that Krishna is looking at you. You understand? But if you go into the temple and say, oh, I like the flowers, I like the backdrop, there's Krishna and Balaram. What's that? Is that the flute? No, you should be like opening your heart to Krishna and then seeing the form of Krishna, looking at the feet first, then gradually coming up, and then trying to realize that Krishna is looking at me. Because we are made for that, reciprocating with Krishna. But in the material world, we're asleep to that, right? We're thinking, oh, We're reciprocating with our own mind, our own thoughts. Yeah, so we've got to open ourselves to Krishna. We've got to practice that. We've got to understand that as an essential part of bhakti sadhana. Any other question?
We can compare the same thing exactly in the practical, like you are preaching here. Everybody is listening to you and they are taking insight as per their intelligence. What they call it, munde madir bhinna. Everybody has different minds, level of understanding. Same way which we are, when we are praying to the Lord. That was
Yes. And that's why it's recommended that you listen attentively, trying to understand. Then you get more understanding. Right? So same thing when you perform bhajan, you chanting, or like when you're reading, you should, right? Krishna says one who studies this conversation is performing bhajan with his intelligence, you see. So we can read it, I read that last week, yeah. Or we can use it, we can read and then absorb the sentences, then that's bhajan, then we get more. So that's why I'm saying, we are architects. We have everything. We have consciousness, we have the Maha-mantra, we have Swarup within the soul, right? We have Vrindavan Dham, we have Sadhu Sangha, we have Tulsi Maharani. Yeah. So now you have to absorb that and not become distracted by anything else and develop that internal realization. And then the person becomes more dhira, right? Just like Madhavendra Puri, when he came, it's there in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, he came to Vrindavan and my Brahminical thread, my this, rules and regulations, I put them all aside now. I just sit under this tree and I'm just absorbed in the Leela of Krishna. Alright? So we can't do that artificially, then that's sahajiya, imitationist. But that is there in Nectar Devotion. It says the advanced devotee may not seem to be performing regulated devotional service very well. He's just sitting under a tree. Why doesn't he go to Mangalati? I didn't see him chant Gayatri all day. But he's absorbed in Krishna Leela. So it says that in the Nectar of Devotion that the sadhaka shouldn't be even attached to the process of liberation. That's the meaning. That in the higher realms, but we have to start from that point. In the higher realms, that little bit of realization of Krishna becomes everything. So we have to understand that process. Just like we don't parrot the holy name, we chant with devotion. So we don't do our devotional service mechanically. We do it in the consciousness, it's my seva to Guru, Vaishnav, Supreme Lord. That's knowledge, that's bhakti knowledge, that's bhakti jnana. So that's very important. So that's the last 6 chapters. That's reinforced in the last 6 chapters. Chaitra jnana, Krishna is this, what is tyag, what is sannyas. So, what did Sarvabhauma say? He said, Jnana Vairagya Bhakti Yoga. You've come to give bhakti characterized by Jnana and Vairag. You understand? Vairag means detachment from material endeavor and with spiritual Jnana. So therefore the Gita is there, all the ABCs. Understand? So be attentive to Krishna within the heart. Are we satisfied? Okay, we'll finish at this point. Thank you all very much. Perhaps next Friday I will also give class regularly now. Okay, thank you very much for attending. Nice to see you all. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Bhagavad-Gita, Sadhu Sangha, Srila Prabhupada Ke.